greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah,
Well, let's put it like this. We've got the heart. We've got the courage. We've got the brains. We're at home. Kansas Speedway, virtually on iRacing. It is round number 12 of the Sim500 NC811.org Cup Series. As we click our heels and hit the Kansas Speedway virtually on iRacing and get ready for a fun set of racing. This next-gen car is one that I have had the chance to run on this track. It is tricky, and for these guys, it is going to be a test when it is all said and done as we get you ready from the Kansas Speedway. Again, round number 12. I'm the captain with you on this Monday evening. This 1.5 mile track, of course, the usual track description right there for you. 79 degrees, 54% humidity, partly cloudy skies with 2-mile-an-hour winds. And I guess since I'm referencing a whole bunch of Wizard of Oz right now, if I were to be, I'll call myself the heart, I guess, since I'm technically the guy that created this broadcast channel, yada, yada, yada. So the brains is going to be this guy, the guy with me tonight, of course, Kevin England.
Hello.
You are the brains. Because those guys have the courage to be on the track. Stephen Miles is telling me already to quit the talking. I guess he's tired of my Wizard of Ozery already. But qualifying is underway. There's no place like home. Absolutely. So while the cars are on the track at home, let's talk a little bit about this Kansas Speedway, a track built in 2001. And has had some reconfiguration done to it, but a track that I think we're going to see some fun racing at tonight.
Yeah, I think this is a racer's racetrack. You look back at a couple of these venues like Chicago, like Iowa, and so on, and this racetrack really requires you to use that technical prowess to get into the corner, get off the corner, carry the speed, get side by side, set up the passes. I think this type of racetrack is just one of the best with the progressive banking, and we're going to see an amazing race here tonight.
We saw one last night, as a matter of fact, on the track, and we saw cars work the top side, and believe it or not, we saw cars run the bottom side. It fooled me, but it did definitely happen, and we could see it again tonight as Bentley Glazier goes to the pole at a 31:37. That's nowhere near where we were in practice. We had lap times in the 30s. As Joey Jatita jumps to the top, 31:33. Mojica to fourth. We have an upset in the making in qualifying. Nope, Tyler Dalton said nope.
Nope, Tyler says smack you down, boy.
But either way, yeah, this track we saw last night, the bottom side go to work. We saw the top side, the middle. We saw pit road go to work. We saw everything going to work last night in this great racing. And the one caution we saw last night, and I think we could see that again tonight.
Yeah, this track gets a little tricky sometimes coming up off the corner. I hope these guys can hold the track conditions and keep the grip. If so, I think we're going to be in for an amazing race. Got a full field, setting down some qualifying laps. Joey Chatina's still sitting there in second. They did a little practice today, just getting a little feel for it. Seems to have done that 14 car really well. As Doy Woods again puts up another really good speed. Good to see Jose Gonzalez in the top 5 right now, and Watching Mike Kelly come off of turn 4 to complete his lap. He's typically pretty fast. Where's he's going to slot in? Nowhere in the top 5. He's 10th or so.
Yep.
So not too terrible of a starting spot. Track position a big deal here. Hard to pass at this racetrack because everybody's pretty much the same speed, which makes for a very interesting race.
Van Schaik might be up to something here. About to hit the wall off 4, and he goes P10. The hype for nothing. It was close. He had a good qualifying run last night, and Steve Ritter did. And he's up there again here in the top 10. So it's a very exciting qualifying session here. Brian Macklin only 20th right now. That he goes to second right on cue. Good lap for him. And Beasley Fan Club not going to be too impressed. He's 26th right now out of 29 qualifying. Eric Arnold down there 29th. Derek Myers with not a good qualifying lap as we watch that. So lap times again pretty close together when it's all said and done here for qualifying. And, of course, Q is brought to you by our good friends at the 811. No, it's below. Call before you dig. Now, last night, I skipped interviewing the 19 car. And he had the same luck that he has when I do interview him in qualifying. Now, we did prove a couple weeks ago, in the last couple weeks, that the luck game is over with. Whoever I talk to, it's fine. And now I'm working on the same bank for my man, Mr. Brain, over here. Yeah, we're going to see how this all transpires. There's nobody else on track, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the man up here real quick and talk to him. The winner tonight, as far as I know, it's his 152nd career pole, but I don't know if he's won any poles between here and there, as I brought him to the wrong room. Let's get him down here to this room, as Tyler... we didn't talk to you last night, and I was like, all right, let me see if not talking to him will help him, and you went speeding down pit road, so that streak went bye-bye. So let's just talk, man. You get the pole tonight. What kind of differences are we going to see from last night's race where you guys were actually able to work the bottom in to tonight? Are we going to see the same thing?
You'll probably see the bottom more tonight than last night, to be honest. I don't know. It feels like the top of the track doesn't have the grip that it normally has, so... It's definitely a whole different animal from last night with the gearing and stuff.
Are we going to see some shifting in the long run? As you and I actually ran in the GOAT series a couple weeks ago here, and I actually was shifting myself a little bit when I was running the bottom in the long run. Are we possibly seeing that tonight?
You'll see shifting in the short run as well as the long run, in my opinion.
All right. Well, that will rock and roll. Well, good luck tonight, man. Congratulations on pole number 150-something. I don't know if you got any polls between the last time we talked to now, so other than last night. So best of luck here this evening.
Thank you.
All right, Tyler Dalton, he's focused, ready to rock and roll and get that 19 finally into victory lane. So that is your 811 pole award. So let's look at the point standings as we enter here this evening. And Mojica leads by 22. And that's over Chad Coleman. Mike Kelly right there, 39 back as we look closer and closer down towards Glenn Campbell, who is 17 points up, or I should say 1 point up right now on Robert Frary in the playoff battle. Justin Mons is right there. Van Schaik, Callan Tony, all these guys within about 15 points before you get to Jimmy Coleman in 26th as he is 12 points back. So... Kevin, I think we got ourselves a pretty tight point race that's going to be shaping up. And a reminder, we do have a lot longer of a regular season than we do in the actual Cup Series, or in the actual Grand National Series that runs on Sundays.
Yeah, there's an interesting tell in that point series or point standings. As you look, 22 points back from Pedro just shows how good he's been out front. Then 17 points, 15 points, spread not terribly big back to fourth. Then it's 41 points gap between fifth and fourth. And it goes to show that those top 4 drivers, Mojica, Chad Coleman, Mike Kelly, and David Comstock, have had some pretty decent season runs so far. As the field pulls off, those guys have been the class early here in the spring.
And there's still plenty of time to go. And the reason why I bring up the separation of the two series is you got to remember, after 2022, that series, the Grand National Series that runs on Sunday nights, pretty much cut off about 10 or so races off their schedule. and that was to open up the schedule for fans of football to be able to watch NFL games on Sunday. And, of course, they did a winter series during that, but the Cup Series schedule goes into November on Monday nights. So that's why you hear me talking a little bit different about this series. A lot more racing to go compared to the Grand National Series, because you only have probably about a month or so left before you get into the playoffs. So, going to be very interesting. So, 134 laps of racing. That's 200 miles here at the Kansas Speedway. As Brian Macklin going to be on the inside, Tyler Dalton takes the top side here. Very interesting choice, Kev, as we come to the green flag. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Tyler on the pedal. Green flag is out. Kansas Speedway in race number 12 of the Sim500 NC811 Cup Series.
Cold tires accordion is pretty common here on the start, but it looks like everybody going to be clean into turn number 1 through turn number 2 to the backstretch for the first time. Low line has the advantage. It's going to be Macklin sneaking out as, well, everybody else still 2 by 2 by 2 all the way back to about 20th, 30th, somewhere in there.
Jatina clipped the wall. Macklin clipped the wall. They're 4 wide off turn 4 as Dalton goes back to the lead and leads lap 1 with a crossover move. Okay, 134 more laps of that, please. Our cameras tonight, by the way, presented by TrackCams22.com. Check them out online on Facebook and on the iRacing forums. Their website, TrackCams22.com. I wanted to fly through that so we can get back to what we just saw.
One thing I know about Tyler, he loves to lead laps.
And the matter of fact, he likes to lead a lot of them. It's that last one that seems to always give him the, look at these cars spread out. That gives him the trouble. Look at that Tabasco, Todd Bodine throwback, if you will, right there on the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. Running topside there as he's under attack. Here comes Pedro.
Pedro down on the bottom. He's carving down on the white line, climbs out of turn number 2 to the backstretch. He's going to slide job in front of Jose. Jose comes back for the crossover. He's going to side draft him into turn number 3. They're dead even going into turn 3. Looks like Gonzalez has a good run on the bottom, but Pedro carrying the Mo. Not Mojica.
He's got
he got the Mo, and he's going to come to third.
Mojica takes third. Gonzalez up to back to fourth. Doy Woods, and you see Jatina. Steve Ritter, who finished top 3 last night in his race last night here at Kansas, looking to keep that momentum going. Bentley Glazier there. Now Doy Woods under attack, or I should say attacking the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. So good start here. Great racing already here at this track. And look at this. Who's this great car at the bottom? That's Nelson Rivera, I think, in the 22. Nope, I'm sorry. That's Ritter in that 16 car. Rivera's behind him in the white car.
Rivera's in the LaRue number 22, too, is outside as he's going to make it 3 wide coming up through the middle there. Trying to see if he can find his way underneath Glazier. 2 cars in front of him get a good run. They're trying to attack to Joey Jatina, who's blocking that outside lane. Trying to find the real estate and the grip. In turn number 4, you can approach it so many different ways. You just got to be careful to be able to stay on the throttle and not slide up, especially as the tires wear into that 4th turn safer barrier.
Yeah, this track's going to get tight. We saw it last night. It's going to get tight in the long run, and turn 4 seems to be Calamity Corner. It's almost inviting to carry the speed off the corner, but then all of a sudden, whammo, you're in the outside wall, and you're pretty much done for, especially if you break a toe link on this car. And these speeds are just getting quicker, by the way, by the lap. Every lap so far, somebody different has ran the fastest lap of the race until this past lap. How about this? Richard Beasley, who's 24th, ran the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, 31.449 for Beasley. He's putting it down out in the back. You get such a draft sometimes, and you just get incredible momentum. And if you turn right into the correct lane into the corner, you can carry that speed and make a pretty fast time. As man, 7 laps just zipped right past here. Incredible.
On the 31-second bracket, everybody being fairly patient. Everybody's just finding their own groove and logging laps.
Looking in the back of the pack, some of the drivers starting to come forward. Derek Myers picking up 6th position so far, currently in that 22nd position. And I see that one of the bigger drops, 14th starting spot for Joe Hudson. He's running 24th. So comers and goers early on here at Kansas. It is a tire wear track, so it's not a surprise to see some of these guys maybe be conservative. Go ahead, run the tires off. I'll catch you later.
That's exactly it. Let them go at this point. Let them come back to you. As you see the track temp top right side, 129 degrees, so just like it was last night, hot and slickery, which is definitely the kind of racing we like here at Sim500. Big shout outs, by the way, Mr. Miles, I said, watching Brian Ellis in the Beasley fan club, Ruth Gardner. I'm trying to see, are you trying to say that somebody's birthday? Is it Ruth's birthday, Jimmy's birthday, or no one's birthday? I saw BD, so I figured birthday maybe. Yeah, Ruth and Jimmy are watching. Kevin England, whoever he is, says howdy. What?
I'm mumbling happy birthday to whoever's birthday it is. Happy birthday to you.
Figure not going to Beatles on them. But anyways, all right.
Yeah.
Look at this mess back here. Van Schaik, who had a top 5 run last night after having some trouble there on lap 1. There's the 13 of Comstock, Mr. David Pearson, if you will. Glenn Campbell, Chad Coleman, the Iron Man, all in this little kerfuffle. In a battle for position here. It's back around the 12th, 13th, 14th, back to about 25th position.
Yeah, these guys in the back here, boy, they are clawing for every piece of racetrack they can. As Chad Coleman running in 16th, trying to get to the outside of the fast line forward of Van Schaik. Van Schaik had a good run the other night in the Charlotte race we had. He was running second up until pit strategy took him out of the mix. He had a very fast car and just continues to improve week on week in that number 23.
I almost ran that Charlotte race, but I had something come up at the end. I wasn't able to. I almost did. Because Charlotte is one of my favorite tracks.
Oh, there's trouble.
Almost. Great save by Campbell.
Unbelievable. Got into the rear quarter panel of the 38 of Chad Coleman. Coleman didn't even blink. He just kept his foot right in it.
Well, I'm pretty sure Campbell did too. He's going to lose a lot of positions from it. I see Barbara Pinion watching, cheering on the faster pastor. Good to see our peoples coming back. We got to get you guys on Sundays too. Some good.
Tell you what, good composure for Glenn Campbell,
yes.
Running 21st. That could have been disastrous. The car went for a slide. Now it's just got to be patient. Maybe he heated the tires up in that little bit of a slide. He's going to let them come back to temperature so the car doesn't feel so greasy, but that could have been a big moment over there, and he had good hands to keep that car out of the inside barrier.
We ride with Wesley Donaldson, who was involved in lap 1. Now he scrapes up against the wall. I might have to keep myself out of people's cars tonight.
A couple of faster cars out in the back, kind of surprising to me. E.J. O'Rourke running 18th right now. Big wobble out of turn number 2 for him. He's sitting there behind Chad Coleman, Mr. Top 5, all year long. And, you know, a couple of these faster cars, even the 13 at this point, still running out of the top 10. We've seen him run consistently top 5 every race. Started deep in the pack, still trying to get his way forward.
Watching Ferrari get up there in the outside wall just now, right in front of Wesley Donaldson, and going to lose a position or two from that. But otherwise, he should be okay. His car can take little shots like that to the wall and end up okay. Unlike last night, a lot of people were just pounding the outside wall off of turn 4, and it was just destroying their car almost, if you will. As let's jump up front, battle for the lead is on. Macklin has caught the back of Tyler Dalton, looking to finally break that slump that he's been in ever since he won in Daytona back in February inside of Dalton. As that 19 starts to fall back a little bit, let's see if Macklin tries a slider here. He's in position.
Did really good speed from the center off, turned the car down the hill, was able to drive off of turn 2, get a little advantage. You haven't seen Tyler give it up yet, but I think Macklin's got a good run. He drops down to the banking, slides up in front of Tyler Dalton. He's going to use the high side. They're still side by side over there in turns 1 and 2, but it looks like Macklin should have a good run to the backstretch, and he's going to take over that top position. He's leader P1 for Brian Macklin on lap 17.
There you go. First lead change officially of the race. Yeah, they did swap the leads a couple times there in the first lap, but Dalton ended up still leading the first 16 laps of this race. All right, replay time. Let's go back and watch this save with Mr. Campbell. Hands and feet on the wheel as he yikes.
Woo!
And now we'll go back to the start of the race at lap 1. And watch turn 3 and 4 here. This is 1 and 2, I believe, right here at this spot. And then right behind him, because by the way, Dalton has lost second and third now all of a sudden.
Yeah. Wonder if he went out a little too early with that horse and used it up a little.
Jatina gets the wall. And then right here, they're pretty much all but 4 wide off the corner. I mean, just great racing there at the start. So just wanted to show that off real quick. So there you go. You see Dalton losing second and third.
I'm surprised to see Doy Woods. He's had speed every week coming into this spring, and that number 28 has been on the march. And of course, who sits out in front of him but Pedro? Maybe Tyler just wants to sit back there and ride a little bit. He had clean air all that time, ran the car hard. Now he could just kind of pace himself, save a little bit of fuel, and get himself to that first pit stop.
Which should be, with the 20-gallon tank in this car, they should be able to go about 60 laps on a tank of fuel here. I don't think tire wear is going to be a problem, because I know last night in the Grand National race it really wasn't an issue, but I think we could see a 2-stop race though, because you're going to have to go 67 laps, which is a complete 100 miles on a tank of fuel, and I just don't know what these speeds and not a lot of off-throttle time in the corners. You're going to see that.
Yeah, my notes say 60-ish, because you have so much draft help here. You can ease out of the car and float it down into the corner and save a little fuel. So if you're hard on the gas, 60 laps. If you are soft on that pedal, you might get a little bit further. So we'll be looking to see if we can put in another 40 laps or so before we see green flag pit stops.
Dalton has regrouped himself, goes topside on Doy Woods for third. Battle of a couple of Mustangs right here. And Dalton's going to clear back, so Tyler regained his composure after losing a couple positions, and now back up to the third position. Fantastic racing here. Appreciate everybody joining us here tonight on this Monday evening of racing. Of course, a lot of people getting ready for the first race at North Wilkesboro in a Cup car since Jeff Gordon won in 1996. I would tell you how old I am, but I don't want Kevin to feel old.
I saw that race.
I did too, actually.
Jose Gonzalez down underneath the two of Mike Kelly. They're battling for that 7th position. Gonzalez wants it. Kelly going to slip back and yield. I think one of the things you'll see is drivers will run the low line for a lap or two, then they'll run the high line for a lap or two. And all of that is to even out tire wear. You drive the car down low and you end up driving it on that right front. You drive it up high and you tend to wear the tires a little bit differently. And I do believe that sometimes drivers take the tactic of low one lap, high the next lap, or vice versa, just in order to even out that tire wear and keep the tire pressures, the tire temperatures more even for the long run.
Which is interesting to me, because most of the time when you're racing, you're not doing that. So it's like, as Coleman about scraped up the wall in 4. Like, I don't go out there in the track thinking to myself, I got to run high this time. All right, back low this time. I'm doing it more fine. I'm more worried about finding clean air and get the best run possible. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't expect myself to be down at the bottom like Van Schaik is right now, and then expected to let Wesley clear me and go back to the high side, if that makes sense. Like, you don't see that.
I'm like you. I let the car go in and find it, let it take its set and take it from there. But I listen to the radio. Some of these drivers sometimes just trying to pick up morsels, and I hear them talking about that, right? Different lines trying to keep that tire wear staggered, so to speak, as to where you're heating the tires. And it does make sense. You go up to the high side, is, wow, just saw, who was it, the 77 Fryer into the turn 1 wall, turn 2, just drove it in a little bit too deep, scuffed it.
Kevin,
now they're all on the high side over there in 3 or 4, you see.
Yeah, Kevin lost a little bit of your microphone there, just FYI. But Mojica going to the lead here, as I think you were talking about Robert Frary getting to the outside wall there in turn 1, but Mojica takes the lead. So our third lead change, and Pedro looking to sweep the weekend And I honestly cannot remember the last time somebody swept a weekend, as I think about this now. Winning both races in one weekend. I'll have to go back and look. Watch, it's probably happened like this year, and I've done like forgot. But
I don't recall that.
okay, I'll make sure I'm not the only one. But Mojica becomes the third leader here at lap number 27. As you mentioned, Ferrari here in the inside of Mike Kelly. You see Rivera, Scott Simley, the whole Turn 1 Heroes clan, if you will, standing right there.
Now you're going to start to see the comers and goers, right? As you get about halfway through the run, those who saved their tires will start to come forward. Those who didn't ran a little too hard. You see the Steven Ritter, number 18, has dropped to 19th after starting 7th.
yeah.
So he's had the biggest plunge, but still having a decent run there in the top 20.
I'm sure he'll go to work on that as we go. But yeah, Ritter falling back a little bit there. He's probably the biggest guy so far that's fallen back. I hate saying biggest loser because it just don't sound right.
Yeah.
But Derek Myers up 13. Josh Parker up 14. They're 13th and 14th, respectively, right now. And this is one of those races where I think, with the way the feel is here, Kev, I mean, I would think you're probably here thinking the same thing. You got to put yourself in a spot now where you're probably going long run here. So you got to kind of set yourself up to know, okay, right now, if I'm Derek Myers, I'm up to 15th right now. So I have to do the right thing, set myself up on pit road to get more track position when the pit stops come. So it's not one of those where you short pit yourself here or even try to go long. You just got to try to get yourself track position through the pits unless you feel like your car's fast enough, which right now he's to the outside of Charles Van Schaik. And is he going to split the middle here?
He's been courting that middle for a couple laps watching. That's the tightest battle on the racetrack. Van Schaik got a little wiggle over there in 3 or 4 trying to hold that bottom line, not able to do it. So Derek Myers in the Home Depot Ford Mustang able to scoot around him on the high side. Now he's working on Wesley Donaldson is out in front of them. Big wiggle for the number 22 LaRue of Rivera, and Donaldson going to go down underneath. So when you get the run at this juncture, when you feel that pull of the draft, you're going to try and take advantage of it and shoot the gap.
Myers real close on the door of Donaldson there. Wonder if he thought he was going to the apron there. Decided not to.
Could have been a little bit of a draft, side draft there too.
Yep,
Well,
Myers,
you really put that car down. You see that?
yeah, he did. And Donaldson's going to lose positions there as Myers going to get 2 for 1. So great run by Derek Myers. And at Home Depot, number 39, as you mentioned, he's up to now the 12th position. Looking pretty sporty. Oh, Wesley slides it up in front of Josh. I saw a few of those last night too, by the way. Oh, and somebody's in the outside wall back there. Randy Yoakum, it looks like. Charles Woods down to the apron here. It looks like everybody keeps it straight.
Randy lost a lot of speed there.
Randy's off the pace.
I wonder if he's broken a toe link or something on that car.
I think Randy's going to have to come to pit road here. Let's see what happened to the 8 car, the 811 North Carolina 811 car. He's off the pace and looks like heading to the pits. See if I can find the replay real quickly here. It looks like it's going to be right in this area here. All right, so it's already happened. So let's back it up here manually. And I saw him up at the outside wall. Pretty much. This replay brought to you by VHS Rewinders. Oh, he gets doored by Chad Coleman.
Ah, just 2 drivers looking for the same real estate.
What happened to Coleman is the next question here. Coleman was just, yeah. So this was literally Coleman's right there on the top side. Randy goes to bottom. Coleman gets tight and then just ping pongs into the outside wall, unfortunately. And then Charles. Oh, and then who's that that got the wall?
Okay.
Somebody else got the wall. I think the 15 maybe?
Yeah, certainly the one that came out the bad end of that is Randy.
Well, Randy and somebody else got the wall. I'm trying to see who the other person is. It looked like It was a brown. As soon as I find it, I'll tell you who it was. Is that car right? It was Doug Roth, I think, that got the wall. Nope. Oh, yeah, it was Doug Roth. Goes up and nails the outside wall, trying to avoid some other cars, yeah.
Wow, he hit it pretty hard, too.
Unfortunate circumstances there. So 37 laps in. All right, so let's quickly step away real quick before we get to green flag pit stops. We hope that as Macklin scrapes the outside wall in two there. And let's step away for a second here. A word from our sponsors, 811, as you're watching the Sim500 Cup Series on the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are here at the Kansas Speedway virtually on iRacing. 38 laps complete, and shall we say already some pit stop action going on. Eric Arnold, the first to go off strategy. Last night he went long on the strategy. Tonight that Voodoo car going short on the strategy, and I think I see what's going on here. He pitted right at lap 35, which is 100 laps to go. So needless to say, I think you could be seeing a 50-50 split literally for Eric Arnold in the two-stop strategy.
Yeah, and at this point, he's the only car one lap down, so should there be a caution, he'll find himself right back into that lucky dog position. So as long as things continue to play out this way, I think he'll be okay if he can get another 20 laps or so and start seeing the rest of the field pit.
All right, so now the times have really started to fall off. We're almost about a second and a half off the pace. And for Arnold, he doesn't actually probably want a caution. He wants his race to keep going, and I say that because 3 sets of tires. And when you have 3 sets of tires, he's down to 2 already. And, you know, obviously if he gets a caution, he'll be down to 1, as he'll likely come to pit road with the waiver or with the lucky dog there. So if I'm him, I want this race to go all the way through and let everybody else pit also here. So with that said, though, you see the battle with Rivera and Van Schaik. As, hey, let's go check on the boss man here. He's been battling with Bentley Glazier. And also right here trailing the Doy Woods, number 28. But the 14 of Jatina looking pretty good here so far. Only about 3 seconds back of your leader, Wes Loke. Appreciate you watching, sir. Appreciate everybody watching here tonight. And if you're watching, go ahead and feel free to comment or ask a question. I don't care. Whatever, and I'll give you a shout out, like I always do. Is Randy Oakham still on pit road, by the way?
Yeah, likely toe link takes about 5 to 8 minutes to get fixed. It's good run by Tyler Dalton. He went out early, got his laps led, still hanging tough there in third, carrying enough space that he's not under assault from that. So probably just backed it down a little bit. Gonna pace himself through the early part of this race as we've ticked off 40 plus laps already. Green flag from the start, and well, I'll tell you, this field is pretty stretched out. Leader comes off to the backstretch, where the back markers in the back of the field are just coming out of turn 4 right now.
Yeah, Mojica coming up on a some cars potentially in the next few laps he could be lapping, but yeah, you said earlier, we've been cleaning green so far, 43 laps. We only had 1 caution last night, and that was literally a hardware failure situation on Jatina's car and caused a pretty big wreck, including one where Bob Gillenwater, we still joke around, and it looks like we say it looked like he hit an IED when he was on the track. It literally, like his car's on track, and all of a sudden, boom, it's flipping into the air over into the infield, so it's kind of weird. But that's been the only caution so far of this whole entire weekend. Knock on wood, as we've been green now for 95 plus 44, what's that, 139 straight laps.
That's pretty good math.
Yeah, I tried. Bentley Glazier coming to pit road here, lap 45.
Mike Kelly also ducking in and finding that line. Boy, he locked her up pretty good, but he got down to speed pretty short.
Not an easy pit road to get onto.
Not at all. You carry so much speed around this racetrack along that bottom line.
Chad Coleman coming in. So 3 cars, it looks like here, lap 45. Hello, Corey Gibbs. Thank you for watching.
We've not talked a lot about driving this racetrack. There's some unique features to it. Getting off the pit
Oh,
road is
Coleman
one.
overshot his pit stall.
Jatina is in. Here comes Friery. Here comes Rivera.
4 tires in fuel, 15 seconds, 15.3.
Parker jumps in.
Yep. A lot of cars coming in. So green flag pit stops a little shy of lap 50, which kind of catches me off guard here. So you put 60-ish. We ain't even got the 48-ish. So
One thing I was going to say is on this racetrack, they drop down on the apron down in turn number 4. Some do, some don't. They find that to be the fast way around. And, you know, I don't know. I think the deal here is they're splitting the run in 3, obviously. If you take 134 and split it, it's 44 laps.
That's some good mathematician there, my fellow.
I do my best.
Oh, Jersey, and I was trying to remember what country. Oh, and Doy Woods. I think he
I'd
got in
race.
his pit stall sideways there. He almost ran into Jeff Ryan coming into pit road there, but he gets in. Legal pit stop, apparently. But, yeah, a couple of features here about Kansas Speedway I mentioned last night. Did you know, out of all 1.5-mile tracks, this is the longest straightaways of those tracks?
I did not know that. Backstretch is pretty long, yes?
Front stretch is
Seems
even longer.
similar to Chicago, though.
Well, the difference is without the curve. But, yes, you are correct. Banking-wise, pretty much was a list. Glenn Campbell overshot his stall. Banking-wise, before, it was actually 3 degrees smaller than Chicago. Now, as Tyler Dalton comes to pit road here, and obviously going to have speeding on his mind, I'm pretty sure, after what happened last night. Obviously, with the repave, it matched up pretty much, except with progressive banking, it actually goes up to 20 degrees in the corners. Now, everybody having pretty much solid stops. I see Glenn Campbell, a 19-second stop for him, so he ain't going to be happy about that. Sigmund, there's Beasley on pit road also. As you see those guys go by, Kevin Stone on pit road. Let's see Tyler Dalton. Left side tires going up. And Doug Sigmund leaving pit road. Tyler Dalton, smooth stop, 15.3 for him. Doug Roth on pit road as Mojica still leads down the back straightaway.
Is the front stretch a straightaway? It's 2,685 feet long, but it's not really straight. More like a...
I mean, it's a fair question to ask, but how many tracks does NASCAR run at that has curves on them?
Right.
I mean, again, we go back to the parking in a driveway, driving in a parkway, you know, type of thing.
You say potato, I say potato. Is that
You can say
one of
that.
those?
You can go with that, if you want to. Tomato, tomato. The one I fool people with is when I say, is it photographer or photographer? Right? Nobody thinks about that one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
And Mojica going to come to pit road at lap 50. Very tricky pit road, as you mentioned, because you got to drop down off the banking and hang a left right through pit road here. It's a straight pit road. 45-mile-an-hour speed limit.
It's going to hand the lead over to Jose Gonzalez. He's going to pick up a lap here.
Yeah, check on Brian Macklin and why all of a sudden he's 3.5 seconds back from Gonzalez. Is there something we did not see happen to the 30 car? Because he is way off the pace all of a sudden here, which there's Glazier on fresher tires. But we must have, he is literally fallen back really quickly from the 26. So I don't know if he's destroyed his tires or what has happened. But I did not catch it in my spotters. They're fired. Did not catch it either. But look right, yeah, I mean, there was...
He ran pretty hard in the beginning trying to chase Dalton down. He might have just used up the goodie on his tires. So here is...
Well, I mean, he's lost 4.5 seconds to Jose Gonzalez. Let me see if I can go back and find where Jose got by.
My guess is Jose, who is the king of mileage, is going to run the whole thing out. As is about 5 or 6 of them.
All right,
Macklin, Simley.
Macklin to pit road now, I should say, sorry. As he locks him up here as he gets into a stall, or into the pits.
We talked about how hard it is, Chris, to get on pit road. It's equally hard to carry the speed out of pit road. You can make up a lot there, or you could lose a lot.
That is a very, very good... Oh, one car missing pit road. Is that O'Rourke back there? Or is that Stenzel? It is not Stenzel. It's EJ O'Rourke who missed pit road. So he's on the front stretch here off the pace. But the one thing you mentioned, and let's watch EJ right here on the apron. See that part of the track right there? That is a road course, believe it or not, here at the Kansas Speedway. That back about, 10 years ago or so, I want to say 10, 15 years ago, IMSA actually used to run that track. Basically, what they would do is enter turn 1 on the apron, go into the infield, and then come back out at that other part of 1 and 2. So that is a legit couple of bumps right there in a transition to go over as you're coming off of pit road. So that's a very great point you bring up there, Kev. And of course, like I said, IMSA ran it. Well, and EJ about locks it up going to pit road there with his issues. So that's another element to add to this track. There's that word again.
If you come across that front stretch too, down on the apron, you want to get up to the racetrack at some point, because there's a couple bumps down there towards turn 1 that unsettle the car. And usually the drivers sweep up there to the outside wall so that they can get the right turn in to the corner for turn 1. So it is technically, like I said on the opening, one of those tracks that you need to understand its characteristics in order to carry the best speed. Brian, Brian Workman on pit road. Is that the second time for him?
Workman pitted at lap 54. He's not sure what's going on, but he's on. Did he go through pit road maybe?
I'm not sure if he sped or something. For some reason, I think I saw him enter twice. Could be wrong. I'll have to follow up on that.
Yeah, I'll have to check into that. I know last night I joked with him. He had a 30-second pit stop. I asked him if he jumped out of the car and changed his own tires or something. But but I did find out actually he had forgotten to have his crewman change tires. So, all right. So the only cars who have not come to pit road: Jose Gonzalez, Scott Simley, Derek Myers, Charles Van Schaik, Joe Hudson, Stoney Benfield. So for those guys, they are almost forced at this point to run the tank out and try to get this yellow. Now, when this period of laps are done and everybody comes to pit road, the guy that is about to pass Stoney Benfield is going to be the leader of this race, and that is Bentley Glazier. In the 18 car, he's going to have about 2 seconds or so on the 58 of Pedro Mojica. Joe Hudson, I think we've lost Joe Hudson somewhere.
So the update for the 74 is he got into the outside wall at the end of the backstretch for some reason, did a drive-through, and then came back the second time and poured 4 set of tires on it, and he's back out at this juncture.
Maybe he was having his crew check his tires to make sure they were all up still or something. I don't know.
I'm not sure why he didn't pit that first go through. Maybe he had a penalty or something. Maybe he had a tire down. Maybe he crossed the cone. We'll have to check with him and see if we can figure that out. But
it might have been one of those where he was trying to set his settings and maybe missed his pit stall.
Could be.
Yeah. So just waiting on these guys to come to pit road here. Now the $1 million question. Can somebody really go 5 more laps and get to 67? If so, this race is really going to get interesting.
And Shike getting to the wall out of turn 4. He's running 4th right now. His tires are shot in that number 23.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they all are. I mean, lap times 33, 34 seconds. Oh, Van Schaik's had a flat tire. You can hear it.
That's probably what happened to Brian Workman. That would make sense as to why he did not turn in turn 3 and got into that outside wall.
You can hear the noise. So that is called somebody has worn their right front tire completely out. And Stony Benfield had some issues coming to pit road. We'll show that in a second. But I'm actually, like, not excited for Charles, but the fact that you can actually hear it, the car with a flat tire, kind of excites me a little bit. Because it's something you don't see in iRacing a lot.
Lap 62, so...
So now, not only can you got to go 67 laps on fuel, but now you got to run 67 without blowing a right front tire. Which, for those who are wondering if you've never blown a tire in iRacing, you get a meatball. So he'll get his tires. Now let's go back to Stony Benfield, who had a little issue coming to pit road. Let's watch the 75 here, the 811 car.
Just locked it up. He was doing great till he got onto the apron, and then it seemed like the car just didn't want to stop for him.
And he does a great job hanging a left right there and getting the pit road quick enough.
So he's made it to lap 65. Jose Gonzalez still leading, still's got all 4 tires for that number 26 Tabasco car. So, you know.
Derek Myers to pit road. Now, for those curious, on iRacing, you do get a couple of warnings. It's not like a warning that comes right before it happens. It's one of those wherein you get to 50%, it says, all right, starting to get some wear. Then you get to a certain point again where it will say to you, okay, it's wearing. And at that point, it's when you start praying the hope that it just holds on.
Anthony Calantoni and then number 84 got to the inside of the leader over there in turn 3. Just about got the front fender. Saw Jose kind of sneak up a little bit to give him a little more room.
All right, I think Jose's coming to pit road right here.
He is, drops off the banking.
Getting in very conservatively off the banking here, so that's going to be one to watch. And then the other guy now is left, Scott Simley. And he's going to try to go one more lap here.
Simley going to lead lap number 67.
Boy, let's go on board here. I want to make sure. He is babying that thing in 5th gear.
We heard Tyler say that they were shifting at this racetrack.
Oh, was he trying to go to pit road? Sigmund's there. He's clear pretty much. Why not go another lap, Scotty? Oh, he's putting some in the bank now.
Watch this. That's what he's saying.
I mean, this is straight bank money right here is what this is for him.
Raise your glass, baby.
Joe Hudson's
Go
taking his
behind.
car behind the wall for some reason. And he's still got 3 seconds on Pedro Mojica here, so he's going to go a lap down. But he's going to have almost 15 to 20 lap fresher tires than the field here. Is he going one more? Nope, he's going to say, I'm coming here. Wow, very impressive there. So he's going to have a lap in the bank to roll this car as Pedro Mojica goes to the lead here. So green flag pit stops all done.
So Charles Woods go to the outside, the number 40. He's currently in the 21st position as Scott reaches his pit stall. Right side tires going on his Heineken Ford Mustang. Come around to the left side, packet full of fuel. And that should be it for him. If it stays green, he should be able to do it in just... Well, he's done, right? No more stops.
16.3. Obviously filling up the tank and everything there. Maybe some damage, I don't know. But either way, he's got the tires and now the pack full of fuel. He might have sat there for an extra second to make sure his auto refill wasn't on, and it got completely filled up. But either way, his bet is made now.
Empty. Couldn't put any more in it, right? He probably coasted in there in fumes.
Pretty much. So he is going to be about a lap and a half down to the leaders. But he has got 4 Mr. Feelgoods, or 4 Heinies, whatever you want to call them. He's got them.
So 64 laps to go. Pedro Mojica is your leader after that round of pit stops, followed by Bentley Glazier, Tyler Dalton, David Comstock, Doy Woods is your top 5. Joey Jatina Still hanging in that top 10, running 6th. Good run for him. Mike Kelly's come up to 7th. 8th for Nelson Rivera. Robert Friery III still having a top 10 run, sitting in 9th. And Brian Macklin, the biggest loser on that exchange, he's dropped all the way back to 10.
And Charles Van Schaik, who also tried that strategy, but unfortunately burned the right front off a little bit on that car. He is right here behind Macklin. But Josh Parker runs in the 11th position right now. He's up 19 spots. Anthony Calantoni runs 12th. Eric Arnold, remember, he was the first one to test the waters of pit road. He's up to 13th. But unfortunately, with the oldest tires in the group here, and he's probably going to need to go another, I would say, 10 laps. 10 or 11 laps and come to pit road at that point for his final pit stop. Glenn Campbell runs in the 15th position. Scott Stenzel, there they are, running 15th and 16th. You see E.J. O'Rourke, who's having a rough night tonight. Right there between him. Jose Gonzalez all the way back to 17th after his pit stop. But he's got 4 fuel goods now to work with. Chad Coleman having a night to forget about. He is 18th right now. Charles Woods in 19th in the Old Crown Royal Mobile. And Jeff Ryan, who started back in the 23rd position, hanging out there in 20th. So that's your top 20 right now. Kevin Stone, Richard Beasley, Derek Myers back here 23rd. And then Scott Simley, there he is, 24th. Now, here's what Scott's got to do to be careful here. This is the very tricky part. Scott, we all know he wants to go fast probably right here, but he can't.
Yeah, he needs to be steady Eddie here for this run to make sure that he does not blow a tire. But, you know, he managed the first stint, so you have to believe that he has it in his toolbox to get that second stint done. The question is, with the speed that the drivers pick up when they make that final stop and have 4 fresh tires, will they be able to erase the distance? We see in some real races, a la Denny Hamlin, for example, where you could run down the leader and get past them. For that, the question is, how is this going to net out for Scott Simley and some of the others who tried that strategy? Is Pedro is just wicked fast all the way through. His lap times don't seem to drop off like anyone else. He's good 4 to 5 seconds ahead of the entire field, and he's got clean racetrack in front of him, smooth as glass. Before, when we saw these drivers pitting on different cycles, you had drivers who were fast running around drivers trying to avoid ones with worn tires. Right now, everybody's pretty much even Steven as it goes.
I think you were referencing the Richmond race last season when Hamlin did the 2-stopper in the stage and made the pass there with like 5 laps to go to win that race. Now, one car I've been watching the last couple laps, you're watching on the screen, Joey Jattina just lost a position to the 22 of Nelson Rivera. That is the back at the 7th and now 8th place Macklin. He just passed Mike Kelly here, is coming up on Jattina. So I think you're seeing some of these guys that pitted shy of lap 50 maybe doing a little bit of tire save, knowing that they're going to need to go as far as they can or a pretty good distance to get to their next pit stop. But let's step away for a quick second and let's hear from our sponsors, 811, as you're watching the Sim500 Cup Series on the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are here at the Kansas Speedway as you watch Brian Macklin make the pass on Joey Jatina. 80 laps complete. He about played with the wall there for a split second at the 80 lap mark, as I mentioned. Macklin passed Jatina as they're 12 seconds back from Pedro Mojica, who continues to dominate here at the Kansas Speedway, virtually on iRacing. Appreciate the viewers watching tonight, 20 plus, joining us here on the Captain Esports Network tonight. Of course, Captain with you, and Kevin England joining us this evening as we have been caution-free throughout this race. Only one caution so far in the 2 races of the weekend, if you count today as the weekend, Sunday and Monday, basically, and that came on lap 2 last night, literally, of the race. So we have gone pretty much throughout the weekend, seeing racing just like you're watching on track here. Strategy, passing going on, everybody trying to figure out when we're going to pit at which time. Of course, we saw some lone tires here before the pit stop. So a lot of factors coming into play here as we get into the last 50 laps of this race.
I look at racetracks like this and think about different drivers who are known to be chargers that can come through the field, can find speed, can make slice and dice moves. This track is not conducive to that kind of racing. And I look at someone like Josh Parker, all the way up to 10th, but typically by now he's somewhere up in the top 5, having driven through the field. Everything's spaced out with these long green flag runs, not able to make the run that we typically see of him. EJ O'Rourke, another one, and if Kevin DeBrown was here, he'd be in that same ballpark. There's certain drivers who just have that, fastest qualifying lap, every lap kind of mentality. That doesn't necessarily play off at this type of racetrack.
It sure doesn't. And one guy you can also put in that list, David Comstock, who's had a great run so far in this race. And I wouldn't say he's as hard of a charger as those guys you mentioned, but he will charge up here through the field when needed. And it has turned into a 3-car battle now for second, as Comstock has caught Dalton, who's caught the guy pitting, Bentley Glazier, the pit road. Going to kind of short pit him here a little bit with 50 laps to go. And he's going to come on in here and get 4 tires. This was the strategy I thought you would see Eric Arnold try. So basically, Bentley Glazier has aborted his sort of early, and as a matter of fact, right on cue. Here comes Eric Arnold, by the way, to pit road. But I know Bentley, he pitted, at lap, I think it was 45-ish?
Pedro is here. He's going to give up the lead here.
Wow.
I think this is one of those strategies where you cannot let somebody get out for that final stint on fresh tires and run you down. When you see the lead lap cars in play go in and pit, you're going to follow suit. And I think we'll see a lot of these drivers do the same thing.
I think this is Pedro's move right here to counter Scott Simley. Because he knows Scott is going to stay out, so he's going to try to go get Scott here. I think Pedro realizes I'm not racing Comstock or Dalton or Woods. I'm racing Scott Simley for the win. And that's where Pedro Mojica decides to come to pit road here. Now, if I'm these other guys, I'm not pitting. I'm staying out now as long as I can go and get tires and fuel at that point to counter the move from the 58. The problem is, I don't know, as Calantoni has issues. He's in the grass over here, turn 4. I hope he realizes that Talking Giants is, yes, a football podcast, but football season is still not until August, and I don't know if this is the right town to be talking football against right now. Just saying.
I'm sure he didn't pull down to the pavement, continued to wobble and weevil through the grass.
As Doy Woods, Joey Jatina, Josh Parker, Glenn Campbell all come to pit road here. I'm going to say this. I think this is more of a risk right now for the guys up front than it is a reward. Now, the reward could come later if this pays off. But, like, for somebody like Pedro right now, I think it's a big risk. Tyler Dalton comes to pit road here. And, he locked him up coming through pit road. He might have sped. Another car locking him in.
Pedro 1 lap down. He needs to get back to the lead lap in case something should happen here. This exchange of pit stops.
This is going to be interesting here. So right at 45 laps to go. Cars are coming to pit road.
I think they all understand that strategy, that you can't let somebody get out there with fresh tires for that final stint and drive away from you. Big wiggle for the 10 of Beasley out of turn 4. Pedro had to take evasive action, cut down to that apron. Good thing that's racing surface, and he's going to be able to drive around him.
David Comstock, Brian Macklin, Robert Frary on pit road, Steve Ritter on pit road. So a lot of these guys go ahead and pitting here to split this run in half. I'm kind of surprised by it. And yes, Dalton did speed on pit road. He's probably cussing himself out because he's sitting there. But here's the thing. They got 40 laps to go right now. If a caution comes out, a lot of these guys only have one set of tires left, as Rivera has to lock it down a little bit. If I'm Scott Stenzel, if I'm Charles Woods, if I'm Simley, obviously we know his strategy. Chad Coleman, he's the guy right there. You stay out and you go as long as you can right now. Nobody's listening to me, but that's fine. That's just me thinking out loud here. If you follow the leader, you will follow the leader at the end of the race. Just remember that. Larry McReynolds says it all the time.
Nice prognostication there, Ed.
Thanks. Parker up the middle. Look out.
Jose Gonzalez becomes your 10th different leader right now. He's out front. There are 26 laps out there on the current set of tires.
Derek Myers 6 seconds back right now. Charles Wood. Oh, let's go 3 wide again here.
Yeah, this is that tedious period where you have cars on old tires, cars on new tires, and everybody who's got new stuff is trying to make hay here. Good news is there's plenty of lanes. Bad news is trouble happens very quickly here when somebody misjudges who's going to pick what lane going through what corner.
This gives us an opportunity. I haven't pulled this bad boy out here in a very long time. Let's pull out the old pit strategy board here for the top 10. And you see where everybody came to pit road. Gonzalez at lap 66, so he's got to go 68 laps on his set of tires if he plans on going to the finish. Derek Myers at 64. He's got to go 70 on a set of tires, which I doubt that's happening. And then you see Charles Woods, 52, as Mojica goes by him for position right now. So basically Charles Woods.
12 also.
All right, so now, actually, let's look at this. Pedro Mojica is already ahead of Scott Simley.
Yes, just slid underneath him over in turn 1 entry, making it 3 wide to go under him.
So that's your counter move right there. So Mojica is pretty much in his own deal right now with him passing Simley. So that was why he made the move he did. Now he's ahead of Simley with fresher tires to go to the finish, where Simley, he almost needs a caution right now.
Right now, literally. Yeah, and that was what I was thinking about for the 31 of Eric Arnold, is if there was a caution late, that would put him right in the right track position with equal set of tires like everybody else.
Charles Woods coming to pit road now in the 40 car. Chad Coleman coming in.
Doug Sigmund's on pit road. Stoney Benfield just finished his service.
Anybody else's head spinning?
I think this all just falls right into Pedro's lap. Pedro is currently running third. Closest car behind him is Bentley Glazer. He's got to be a good 10 seconds behind him, I believe. And then, Comstock, Doywoods, Richard, well, no, not Richard Beasley, Josh Parker. That seems to be where the lineup is at this juncture.
Yeah, Stone and Beasley are on pit road now.
This racetrack's heated up all the way through the event, so all the drivers ran their best laps right in the beginning. Your leader, best lap, 31.516 on lap number 3 for Pedro Mojica, and I was peeking at everybody else this time. All of them ran their fastest laps in that first 5 laps of the event here. And even with fresh tires after pitting on the cycles, we have not seen the speed we saw on the outset.
So Mojica should catch Gonzalez and Myers before the end of this race. So needless to say, yeah, I think this is in Mojica's hands right now. Simley's about 12 seconds back from the leaders themselves. So, yeah, I think there was a big risk in the move from Pedro, but at the same time, I think the reward now it's coming into play here for him. As we get later into this race, still 36 laps to go, so anything can happen at this point. Let's watch this battle here. Josh Parker, or I should say Joey Zatina and Mike Kelly. Parker's just ahead of them here in Charles Woods, but Joey holding on to a top 10 run here. He's got the 2 right there behind him.
And these guys have finished their pit service, so they pretty much have what they have, and they know who they're running against at this juncture. And you really, just in these little micro battles, is about 14th right now for Steve Ritter. We saw him slip down a little bit, conserving their car, and his GT is doing a pretty good job here coming out of turn number 2.
I want to throw this out there to you here also. As you see, Joey dropped down to 4th gear here. Should upshift here in a second. There he goes. So, with that said, here's another thing we should mention. Now, all this strategy we're talking about is winning a race. Let's not forget this part. Derek Myers started towards the back. Scott Simley started back in the 10th position, obviously going off the different strategy here. They're more playing the card to get a better finish than they would have on a 2-stop strategy. Let's not forget the main initiative of trying a 1-stopper. Obviously, everybody's goal is to win a race. But if you're Derek Myers, all green flag, and here he is now looking, he could end up finishing somewhere between 3rd and 8th, maybe, somewhere in that range, depending on how much time he loses. That's a gain for him, because then that means he's going to gain somewhere in the. And Simley's coming to pit road, by the way, right now, so he wasn't going to make it, which is interesting. But for those guys, if they can get the net gain with the fresher or with the older tires and only 1 stop it, it's a win.
Yeah. Yep. I'm looking at what I'm surprised is just how fast these leaders have been. Pedro Mojica is almost caught Jose Gonzalez, only about 4 seconds behind him. And Jose hasn't pitted yet, but you look at everybody else. We only have 13 cars on the lead lap right now, with Eric Arnold being the first car 1 lap down and 14th.
Scott Simley has come off pit road, 15-second stop for him. EJ O'Rourke has jumped the pit road. Not sure what happened to the 41 if he just said, you know what, this ain't my night, I'm out of here. Getting the early trip on I-70 east of Carolina, or wherever, obviously, these teams go to. Heads Carolina, tails California, I don't know. But Gonzalez obviously falling back a little bit, but this battle here is starting to get really good. As we're watching Josh Parker, Joey Zatina, Mike Kelly, Tyler Dalton's back there behind him, but Dalton, unfortunately, once again, sits 18th, 1 lap down because of speeding on pit road. Bites him for a 2nd straight race.
Yeah, he's not even in a position to do a drive around at this point, so he's not in lucky dog contention. It just goes to show there is no mistake to be made when you run one of these races that's green all the way. You dig yourself such a big hole if you speed on pit road or cause an issue where you miss the cone or something like that.
Chad Coleman right there behind Joey. Talking about a guy who's probably waiting to get out of this town.
Yeah.
Their 38 car, 2nd in points entering this race, and he has been, I don't think he's been in the top 15 tonight at all, outside of pit stops.
Comes in here 2nd in points, 22 behind Pedro Mojica, but to your point, he's going to not want to come back here.
Now, I'm pretty sure we're coming back here for the playoffs. Obviously, later on this season, as a matter of fact, as I jump over to the Sim500 website, which, by the way, you can get all the information as Joey gets loose off too. And should I remind you also that the Truck Series, Trans Service Truck Series, kicks off their season on Wednesday. So if you're interested in a Truck Series with Sim500, you can reach out to me or Kevin or Joey, and we'll get you connected with Joey or the right people to get you signed up. You can get all the information sim500.com and be a part of the Trans Service Truck Series. That will be over on OSR.
Love the lineup of racetracks they have for that. It's going to be an outstanding season.
Absolutely. And September 25th, by the way, which is race 28, so it will be in the playoffs. Second race of the playoffs, the Kansas Speedway for the Cup Series. So there you go.
Boy, Mike Kelly is working on Joey Chettina so hard, trying to get to that quarter panel to pull some air onto the spoiler and pull him back a little bit. Just can't seem to get there. Joey is on the defensive, not letting him get to the outside, getting a good run, smooth as glass tonight. Joey Chettina having an outstanding run as Mike is doing all he can to wrestle that position.
Something I have just caught onto recently, and I was watching the times, Pedro was catching Jose pretty quickly. All of a sudden, that time has started to kind of mellow out a little bit here. I think he's gained about a tenth so far on this lap as I look up at the leaderboard. But he's not catching him as quickly as he was before. It's down to 1.8, but that lead was falling quickly earlier.
The two got to the outside of the 14. The 14 ran it so hard into turn 1 and 2, just lit up. They, hello, how you doing?
A little door check.
There's a little black paint on the green side there of Mike Kelly's car. Kelly's got 2 car links on him. He finally cleared them.
A little 811 contact.
Yes. Hello, how you doing?
And call before you dig.
Know what's below is what Kelly was trying to do.
Knowing Mikey probably actually said that. So 23 laps to go.
Jose Gonzalez is following the 31 right now of Eric Arnold, just trying to do whatever he can to eke the speed. He's 1.4 seconds over Pedro with the laps ticking down. 111 in the books, 134 is the distance. And I just don't know that he has enough speed to be able to hold off Pedro when he gets there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just more intrigued that Pedro is not all of a sudden, it's like Pedro's backed off the pace maybe or something, as it's 1.3 now.
He can't go the full distance, can he? Can Pedro go the full distance?
I mean, he might have enough Tabasco in that gas tank. I don't know. I mean, when all else fails, throw to the hot sauce.
He pitted on
66?
46 laps into this run, isn't he?
He is right now. We're at 113. He pitted at 66. So he is about to be 50 laps. I mean, unless Pedro knows that Jose's short and he just kind of backed the pace off. I don't know.
Well, the hardest thing for Pedro is he can see Jose, the leader, in front of the car out the windshield, and when you're like a dog chasing a bone, man, you just tend to run a little bit harder, and you want that so badly when you're following the car that you're chasing. They go into turn 1 and they pick totally different lines. Pedro, 1 car length right down to the white line as he turns out, all the way to the outside fence where rim riding for the number 26 of Gonzalez, and you could visibly see the gap closing.
Trying to see who's that to the outside of Pedro. Wow.
I'm curious if
Stoney. Okay.
He likes the 31 there, or is like drafting from him, or feels like he's in his way. I really feel like Jose is using the 31 of Eric Arnold to some extent to find a little speed as Stoney Benfield goes around and enters into the mix, as you were saying.
Like you're saying some kind of draft maybe. Helping him with fuel mileage.
See Jose come down to get clean air on the nose, but on the straightaways, he's tucked in the tire tracks trying to keep to the back bumper of the 31, and I'm not sure if that's just because he doesn't want to waste some speed trying to get around him, or he's potentially using that as a way to just carry some more speed by drafting, so to speak.
Well, I will say this. His lap times are still about 2/10 slower than that 58, so eventually he's going to be there.
Yeah, math is on his side there for Pedro, as Pedro is pretty close now.
I mean, obviously he's sniffing his drafts right now, so...
But you got to give it to Jose. He picked up the lead on lap number 90. We're at lap 117, and just now he sees Pedro duck low. Pedro's going to drop that quarter panel.
And Jose's going to have to get right down on that door, run that second lane, pinch him down. But I wonder if Jose's throwing bottles of Tabasco out on track now. Oh, drops it down right in front of him.
A little bit of a block there. A little bit of a tap, excuse me, pardon me. No. Oh, he's going to force him down to the apron to make that pass. I think this is it right here.
Well, Pedro can't slide him because Stoney's there.
But he's been so fast down here on the bottom that I think he's going to drive out in front of him.
No, he's not.
That car stepped out, and he had a handful there. If he had white gloves on, you'd see him. Yeah, this is a foregone conclusion, but that doesn't make it any less fun to watch.
So we think it's a foregone conclusion.
Well, if a yellow comes out, it's even Steven here, so we'll just see how this works. As now Pedro cuts down low. I really believe those cars in the top line are actually helping Jose because they're pulling him along there, creating just a little bit of draft for him.
I mean, the basically here's Pedro going to try. Jose sends it in there with him. Now he's going to pinch him down to the bottom. I mean, the one thing that I will say right now, those cars are hurting Pedro is being able to slide up in front. He could drive it into the corner and almost do a slide job on the 26, but with Eric Arnold right there, you got to worry about running him over doing it.
So we'll remind you, 54 laps on the number 26, while the 58 has 36 laps on his tire. So market difference right now, and you got to give it to Pedro. 14 laps to go. Can he hold him off to finish and steal this one away? That would be absolutely incredible.
The line that Jose's running in 3 and 4 is interesting. He's straddling the white line, which is actually the banking transition. So it's almost de-wedging the car a little bit, maybe freeing him up. And now Arnold in the way of the 58, or the 26, I'm sorry.
I still think he's going to get the run to the outside here. He is. If I were Pedro, I'd shove him in the corner. Now the car is going to be a pick. Right?
Pedro's back. Yeah.
Yep, not switching. It's going to play.
There it is. Pedro to the front. 13 laps to go. What a battle. Oh, no! Into the wall goes Jose and Arnold. That's going to bring the caution out.
Oh, wow.
Look out.
Grab a gear. Go, go, go. He may be able to rescue himself. He's going to be in the 15. Still, because he's on the lead lap. This changes everything.
Wow.
How about that?
I'm looking over at the standings right now to see pretty much all this did was turn the race on its head. It didn't do anything when it comes to those running the one stopper. Everybody pretty much is either come to pit road or whatnot. Jose Gonzalez was the only one. And depending on how much damage he has, he's lost the track position he had. So, but let's go back to this. I think this was just a simple situation where Jose, I wonder if he just lost track of where he was maybe and thought like he was trying to follow Pedro up into turn 1 and just forgot that Arnold was there. Well, you know what? Arnold was shallow off the tri-oval too.
Pedro Mojica to pit road. I think everybody's going to come.
Money stop. Oh, you gotta pit.
Bunch of drivers will take the wave around here, hoping for a quick caution. Arnold, Sibley, Stenzel, Coleman, Woods,
Pretty much
Dalton.
everybody on the lead lap.
Yeah, Stone, Beasley, Callantoni, Friery, Benfield, they're all gonna stay out. You're gonna see like
Now,
the parade when coming back, one to go is 4 tires and fuel. Pedro.
Jatina overshoots his pit stall big time here. Well, now one person this does, and Jatina decides, screw it, I'm just going to come back in. Unfortunate deal there, but Mohican wins the race off pit road. One person this does pay off for, actually, in the end, is Scott Simley. He gets the lucky dog. That was going to be Eric Arnold's, I believe. So that did help Simley. He's going to go back on the lead lap here.
Yeah, the complexion of the race is going to change because we'll have about 10 cars in the mix, and everybody else going to be on old tires. They'll be behind the field. So unlike some of those times where you have a mix of some worn tires and fast tires all the way through, I think you're going to have fast tires up front, old tires out back. And all those old tire people will be begging for a caution.
We got to think about who's been quick on the short run.
Short run.
Pedro's traditionally a long run guy. So he's going to have to probably turn up the wick here a little bit. I'm looking at Doy Woods. I'm looking at Derek Myers, who's going to be 5th. So Derek Myers actually paid off with that long run. So let me take that back. Josh Parker, 24 spots gained. He's now 6th. He's got a shot at this thing. I mean, Jose's still 8th. So
Winner this season, he may be looking for number 2.
look who's 10th. Look who's 9th. Steve Ritter, Glenn Campbell, Charles Van Schaik's 11th after blowing a right front earlier. So those guys who showed up in the top 10 last night are right back here tonight.
Well, I tell you, Joey has got to be proud of his run so far, but kicking himself on that one. But we'll see how he's able to recover here. Still in the mix as he's in the top 15, but that's got to be a blow.
Oof. Take a breath, get something to drink, whatever you got to do. Because we're probably going to go green here with 8 laps to go. Eric Arnold's still on pit road.
Tell you, Mike Kelly is one of those guys
Yeah.
that somehow finds that speed in these moments. And he's still right there in that mix.
See what Mahika takes lane-wise here. He's going to go bottom. Because remember earlier in the race, Tyler Dalton took the top side, lost the lead in 1 and 2, but then crossed over and got it back in 3 and 4 on the start.
I feel like while you're trying to carry and build the speed through turns 1 and 2, the short way around is your friend. And you really get that drive up and start to pick up that momentum right about mid straightaway on the backstretch. So I would love that bottom lane for that restart, for this restart.
You know, this might sound idiotic on my end, but you know what? I'm okay with that because I'm not. I say the weirdest things anyways. I think this is going to lead to Mohica going early on the start and on the restart, because being on the bottom, he'll get the jump and be able to go to the top side potentially, or be on the bottom in 1 and 2 and kill the momentum of Glazier mid corner. Where if they went right at the green flag, Glazier's got a chance to hang on his outside and get the momentum off the corner. Let's see. 8 laps to go.
Left. Here we go. Glazer's got to win on the season. Mohica got to win on the season.
There he goes.
Got to win on the season. Doy's got to win on the season. It's Derek Myers in 5th, who's looking for his first win.
Well, Mohica might have said bye to that. He's gone as he launches into turn 1. Comstock going to slide into 2nd. Parker going to climb top side 3 wide off 2. And Doy shuts the door on him. Doy's going to get a run to the bottom here. Gets into Myers. Turns him a little sideways. Good catch.
Jose Gonzalez completely sideways in turn number 3.
Oh, he's going in the wall hard.
Oh boy, that killed his car.
Oh, and Derek Myers gets into somebody on the front stretch. Doy Woods. They're wrecking over into the wall turn in the front straightaway here.
So you get Tabasco sauce on the track in turn 4.
We had oil and hot sauce on the track.
Wow. I don't know what happened with Jose. His car was just junk all the way down the backstretch.
I probably could guess new tire, or he might have a broken tire. Did he have a broken car from the wall?
Yeah, but why? I don't know. All of a sudden, his car just seemed to.
Well, remember, oh, that's why. Contact from the 23, so he spent all 3 and 4 trying to catch his car and just destroys the wall.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
and then he clips Scott Stenzel. Then add Rivera to the incident. Tony Benfield goes down and says, hi, how you doing to him?
Yeah, okay. Got
So,
a
yeah.
little tap.
Oh, yeah. So Charles drove it in there, and Jose's okay here, but then that transition right there gets him loose. Joey gets a piece of it, and he clobbers. Who's that other car he clobbers?
Yeah, Joey got into the 35 who was spinning. Let's go take a peek at what happened up here.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the door here. So I'm trying to see where that other car was. Was it the... Yeah, right as he gets up here to the transition, that's when he gets loose. Oh, it's the 3 of... No, it wasn't. It was the 91 of Wesley Donaldson who he clobbers. But then up here... Derek Myers tries to slide up in front of...
Got the wall.
He got the wall and got Glazier also tries to hold on to it and tail whips into the 28 who collects Glenn Campbell. Aggressive.
Well, wasn't that an interesting little exchange? And all those guys who took the wave around are now on fresh tires sitting right back there behind everybody else. And
Myers just tried to slide, clip the wall there, and it caught him out of shape. Literally tail whips Doy. And unfortunately, Glenn Campbell nowhere to go. Well, I know one car that had a front review of all of this, and let's go on board with him. And that is going to be, let's go up here to the wreck with Jose, and go on board with the 3 of Jeff Ryan. Jeff Ryan in your living room. There goes Jose. Rex behind him. And in case you don't succeed, just try to miss again.
I know you can make it, Cole. I know in my heart. Now cue the music up. Don Simpson and Bruckheimer music. Dun, 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 dun.
So Casey's watching in chat. He's throwing out Tabasco dad jokes. Last 10 minutes have been a Tabasco fiasco for Jose.
Yeah. That was there.
That's
What a shame. He led 32 laps, was in the mix, and unfortunately just what bad to worst to terrible.
I'm curious to see if there's any arguing going on after this is over. So this will not be a Sim500 overtime, as we're at lap 130 right now. We should get one to go, I would think, this time by. And you did mention, by the way, the cars that came to pit road: Charles Woods, Tyler Dalton, Kevin Stone, Nelson Rivera, who's involved in that wreck, by the way, too, Richard Beasley, Robert Frary, Anthony Calantoni, Glenn Campbell, Stoney Benfield. So we are now up to 22 cars on the lead lap. Chad Coleman on pit road now with Scott Stenzel. So Chad Coleman looks to potentially make the good of a bad night, as look who took the outside this time by.
That's interesting, is it not?
Well, the interesting thing to me is look at the inside row.
Yeah.
Derek Myers is 3rd still. Doy Woods is 5th. Now, this is kind of ironic because of yesterday's race. Everybody argued why Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, and Brad Keselowski were able to keep their spots involved in the accident in that big wreck that happened yesterday. And here's this situation. And basically what it comes down to is the caution was produced by Jose Gonzalez. And since the caution was already out, they probably, iRacing being they, put those guys back in those spots. So that's why they're restarting where they are. So for Myers and Doy, you don't know what kind of damage you got, but you've got a shot to win this thing.
4 laps ago, though, Arrow is going to play a role, and I have a feeling that they're not going to be able to hold on to those positions, but we're about to find out.
Yeah, as they take 3 to go here, somebody restarted in first gear. I could hear it.
I think that was Dory Woods.
So Comstock to the bottom here, gets the restart with Mohico, clears to the lead. Here comes Derek Myers as, look, Mike Kelly drops into the inside. Glazier's going to get a run top side.
Glazer did not get a good stop on the high side, and then everybody slid up in front of him and blocked his progress. He's going to try and turn down and see if he gets something.
Watching Kelly and Myers as they bring it off 3 and 4. Everybody, oh, Joey Jatina gets an assembly. Everybody's go. Oh, now Jatina's in the wall and spins
Yep.
around. Caution is out.
Green white checker here. How about Mike Kelly on that restart coming to third?
Pedro's like, what are you guys doing to me?
2 shots at overtime here. We're going to exercise the first one. Boy, I feel for Joey. That's just a tough break. We really want to see him get the job done, and I'm not sure if he just got loose coming out of the corner, tagged the 12, collected the 40.
You know what I well, I hate to say it. Whoa, and there was more. Frary and Calentino went to the grass. I think Joey got caught in the transition of 3 and 4 there.
Right on that seam where the... Yeah, we've not talked about that. His right rear was right on the seam where the banking changes in the progression, and there's just a lack of grip right there, and you hit that corner just right on that seam with that right rear, and it pops up over to the banking change, it will turn the car sideways.
Well, think of it like this. As you're driving it on 1 degree, if you're on a single degree of banking, like 19 degrees, and then you put your right side up on the 20 degrees, you're tilting the car more to the left. So what it's doing, it's putting all of its weight to the left side of the car, to the left front. Right rear's light, no weight, no downforce on the right rear, spins the car out, de-wedges the car, as they call it. So that's what causes that to happen. That's where I think it was helping Jose earlier when he was battling with Pedro. He was straddling the line a little bit. But in this case, fresh tires, full tank of gas, or close to it, gets loose, hits him. Add Charles Woods to the list of those involved. Now, I'm curious to know where Calentoni and Frary were going. Calentoni's like, man, I've already done this once.
Yes. This time he had enough sense to get back to the pavement.
So Jatina has taken his car behind the wall. And into Sim500 overtime we go.
If Jeff Ron gets the wave around, he's going to join the back as your lucky dog.
Let me throw something at you here, Kev. Those guys who pitted at the caution, how much fuel did they put into? I assume they put enough in to get to the overtimes, right?
I would think they're safe. Yeah. I would think so.
You would hope so, obviously, but pace car lights are still on, so we're still going to get 2 more laps, so at least 138 laps when it's all over with. You're going to go past the 200-mile mark. And speaking of 200-mile mark, I should mention next week a very special race coming up. Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's going to be a 240-mile event, so 160 laps, going to be the longest race of the season. But it's also a race that, at least I see it on the Sim500 page, on the Sim Racer Hub page, that it's a race that pays tribute to L. Bryce Whitson, who I believe is a former member of this league. Obviously, I've raced with him before. So a 240-mile race at Charlotte next week. So as the Grand National Series, they're off next week. So next time you'll hear from Sim500 will be next Monday night here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Of course, again, this Wednesday series kicks off this week, the Trans Service Truck Series. Let me go peek at their schedule. I'm pretty sure they're at Daytona.
3 laps at Charlotte on Saturday night.
Yeah,
I love those long races.
I do too. And you know what? I heard Joey, I don't want to throw it out there, but I know the idea has been brought up that maybe we could see some longer distance races, and I would love that. And that might actually bring me in the race. But, hey, how about Daytona? Yeah, coming up Wednesday night. And then they'll get Memorial Day week. And pretty much for the most part, going to follow the truck schedule with a couple of little twists and turns in there on the schedule. So you can check that out at sim500.com.
I have Wednesday night circled. I think I'm going to try and make that one.
Which one?
Wednesday night.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe I ought to show up and try to run that. I got nothing to do on a Wednesday night. I got one broadcast for another league I got to take care of here this week, but otherwise,
How about Tyler Dalton in 10th?
a little one-off type thing. Yeah, well, how about that comeback?
That's salvaging a night. Taking advantage of others' fortune as the lights are out, the pace car.
Chad Coleman's 13th, by the way.
Yeah.
Told you, make it good out of a bad night. Here we go, coming to the green, and once again, Mojica takes the outside lane. I think this is a little team name teamwork. Derek Myers, watch him. Mojica launches, Myers gets a good start.
Glazer's on the bottom this time. We'll see if that parlays into advantage for him.
Dalton looks top side, Coleman goes bottom back there as Mojica clears. Here comes Parker, top side.
I think the bottom's where you need to be out of turn 2 here, but you got to get...
Myers into the wall as Comstock gets loose. Around goes Calantoni as they wreck in the back. Oh, and now Comstock gets turned. Everybody's wrecking.
Involved.
Van Schaik goes around David Comstock, Glenn Campbell. 2 different wrecks again.
And we will go to overtime once again. Boy, they
Oh, Calantoni's digging.
You could just see that building out of turn number 2 when everybody was trying to slide, take as much racetrack as they could.
I'm wanting to see why Calantoni's coming really quickly here. I'm wondering if he's looking for somebody, because he has that kind of purpose drive to him. And so does the 44. There's people running after everybody here.
Could be they're just trying to.
They might be trying to catch the pace car really quickly. It could be that too, but this looks like they're all digging. All right, well, let's roll the beautiful bean footage on all this mess now. It started, there was 2 wrecks, and I think we were talking over each other, but there were wrecks happening everywhere. And as cars are going to come to pit road, and wait till we tell you who's running where after this. So this starts back with the 81 and 17 come together on the back straightaway here. You see the... Kevin gets loose and turns into the 84. Adds Stoney Benfield, Charles Woods to the wreck.
It almost looks like Derek Myers was running really hard off of 2.
Oh, it just got tight. Mm-hmm.
And the 13, watching that, didn't think he was going to make it. Flinched, pulled the car down, and then it was on from there. Comstock never really regained control. The car slid sideways. He was, driving up and just never collected the car. Never got
sure. I think you're right. Yeah, because Kelly doesn't touch him. Yeah, I think that's a great... Well, he gets back up into Myers. And then Bentley gets Myers.
Yes. And then the track was blocked because everybody was trying to get that outside lane. But
so, yeah, 2 different accidents here. Charles Van Schaik. SpongeBob is hurt.
Glazer made it through. Boy, he just kind of did his best to arc that car, possibly losing control, but able to just swing it in there in turn 3 and drive through and keep his track position.
Ritter gets through, so does Nelson Rivera.
Now, that's not on me for Tyler Dalton, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Because I didn't do that.
You've been saying good runs all night to everybody. I think you're clear. It's the end of the race. I think all's fair, love, and wrecking. Ritter did get a piece of that, by the way.
Yeah.
So, with everything breaking out the way it has here now, Mojica still leads. Josh Parker's now second. Myers is back to 3rd. Who knows how pancaked that right side is. Mike Kelly is 4th. Bentley Glazier is 5th. So now we look at the 8th place car. Making a bad run look good. Chad Coleman. Richard Beasley, the Beasley Fan Club in the top 10 now.
I just have to say one thing. Kevin Stone was in that mix, got spun, crashed, whatever, pulled away, and probably like 15 minutes after the accident was, his luck went from bad to worse. His
Oh no.
was pulled down across in front of him, but
Oh no.
driving away, just trying to mind in his own business.
All right, so Kevin hit the or he hit that transition also there. That's where he got loose, and he was in fourth gear, which didn't help because obviously the higher revs. So, all right, so we're gonna ride with him here. He gets parked over here, turn 3. Everything's good. All right, well, let's go see what kind of damage I have.
Okay, let's go back and join.
Starts rolling. Everything's good. There's a front end on the track. Okay, everything's still good.
Oh, there's a car sitting there. Let me go.
Charles, what are you doing? Oh.
Oh, no. Yeah. I was watching Comstock, who was trying to pull away from the incident and spotted that and just said, oh, sorry, Kevin.
All right, so we're going to try it again. Last overtime attempt. Let's go ahead and put it out there like this. We're not going to let what has become a wild ending ruin what has been a fantastic race tonight, by the way.
Yeah, this is one of those smoke and you got him. That's right. There's no more
Oh,
reset.
you're going for the win. Yeah.
This is it. So for Pedro, he needs to come out of turn number 2 out front and never look back. That's what his goal is. And for everybody else behind him, they just want a shot. Josh Parker, we were talking about how this racetrack didn't suit his style, but these dash to the finishes, they do.
Right.
You have to wonder if he's got any damage or something to that number 81, but I'd be really worried about having sitting behind me if I'm Pedro. I want to have an awesome restart, never give him a shot at it.
All right, so going to get green flag next time, and whatever flag ends it at this point. If we get the yellow, it's over. If we get the checkered, well, that's obvious. I hear Parker up in first gear right now, and he might be the only car I've heard in first gear so far. And you know what he might be doing? He might be doing the old open wheel cheese job, if you will. What I mean by that is there's a what they call cheesing in iRacing in the open wheel car where you used to be able to burn fuel out of the car to make it lighter. I wonder if something like that's going on in the 81 car right now.
Well, Parker's got 2 wins on the season. Pedro would like to join him in that class with 2, and he's got 1. So let's see. We're going to either have a 3-time winner, a 2-time winner, or a first-time winner.
Mojica gets a good restart. Oh, and around into the wall. There they go. Chad Coleman gets spun around. Nelson Rivera. Race is going to be over. Well, there went that whole good run, bad deal. Yeah. I couldn't tell if somebody spun the tires or if somebody helped out Rivera there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Derek Myers in third. How about that run?
Yeah.
We haven't seen Derek all season.
I know he's not ran much. I think Bristol he had a good run. Okay, so there's checkup, a couple of hits to each other. Ferrari, I mean, they're literally leaning on each other here, and Ferrari gets in the back of Rivera.
Yeah.
A little, I hate to say impatience, but that's the way it goes at the end of the race.
So, win number 2 for Pedro. I'll tell you what, the right car won, because he's been so good all night long.
Probably the perfect weekend, we'll say, for Pedro, as he won yesterday's Sim500 NCA11.org Cups or Grand National race. Now he's going to come off turn 4, see the checkered flag, and be the first one in 2023 to sweep a weekend of the NCA11.org Cup Series. As he scores win number 2 and pulls out the broom, not being a witch here at Kansas. Congratulations to him, Parker, Myers, Mike Kelly, Bentley Glazier going to be the top 5. Not how you want to end a race, but unfortunately, aggression gets in the way here at the end. Let's watch and see. Right here, you got that's Steve Ritter. I think that is in the 16. Not putting this on Ritter or anything like that, but the one thing I will say is he was kind of back a little bit on the start, on that restart there. And when you got that kind of situation, it obviously, I mean, look right here. So you see Ritter's got about a tenth of, or about a half a car length gap there. And then obviously Robert Ferreri's already like right there on the back, wanting to go. You see Ritter goes up there, and then all of a sudden it causes that checkup. Rivera goes down, and Ferrari goes down and turns him. And obviously Chad Coleman. Coleman does it, I think he does a 360 in the end here. And no, it must have been worse because, well, he ends up 18th, it looks like, at the finish here. So I'm sure there's some...
Ritter got a little tap there, brought him right to the back bumper of the 18, and if he'd have stomped on it, he'd have drove through the 18.
Right.
Just kind of bottlenecked everything behind him, and the 22 looked to see if he went low to try and evade.
I think so, because you look at the 77's all over him.
Yeah.
Let's see Coleman here.
Yeah, just punched him. Oh, what a terrible outcome for Rivera, though.
Yeah, both him and Coleman. I mean, Coleman avoided the wrecks and had a top 10, potential top 5 run, and unfortunately goes bye-bye. So we'll let Pedro celebrate his second win of the season. I think he already did some burnouts there for us. And obviously go into victory lane here tonight as we'll let the finishing order go up here through the field. And we'll talk to some drivers here. I'm pretty sure we're going to see some unhappiness here in the next few minutes or so after what has transpired here.
Well, to your point, it was an amazing race right until the end. It become a battle of the wills at the end. You know, that's just everybody trying to get whatever they could. You know, you got to say what you say about Pedro. Fortunately for him, he got good restarts, protected his lead, and came away with the win here tonight at Kansas.
Absolutely. As we go to talk to the top 3 finishers here, let's start with Derek Myers, who finds a way to get a top 3 finish after some wildness there in the end of this race for you, Derek. You come back to finish 3rd, taking advantage of some pit strategy and stuff, but man, how did you survive? I know there were some incidents out there and things like that, but top 3 for you.
Yeah, man, it was a crazy race. I'm happy to come home 3rd after all that, because if we would have went much farther there on that last restart, I had my wheel, like, it was offset to the left so bad, like, I don't know what was going to happen in turn 1 and 2, but I wasn't going to be a part of the wreck. I would let off and brake and go down to the bottom if it had no business turning, but thankfully we got that caution there. I mean, you know, I thought the race was going to go caution free, you know, but the strategy worked out. We drove up through the field starting 28th and got to like 14th legitly, and you know, we have nothing to lose, so we were just trying to play a caution game in case the caution did come out. You know, we got some track position, but yeah, then we got involved with some wrecks out there. I don't really think any of them, you know, I don't know. Dory Woods pushed me off into the corner, and it ruined my whole corner. And I came off turn 3 and 4 and scraped the wall, and the car was all out of control. I tried to save it as best as I could, and my rear got Doy spun around. Thankfully, we all didn't get much damage from it, and I don't know if they're not happy about it, but you know, I mean, I didn't try to get into it.
Well, obviously, you know, things happened, and obviously the racing got wild there. But I want to that wreck. It was weird because it put you and Doy back in 3rd and 5th, obviously, because I think the caution came out for Jose behind you. But then obviously turn 2, obviously you got up there and got into the wall a little bit there, and things happened around you.
Right. Yeah. I didn't think it was going to give me my spot back, but when I looked up and I saw it was, I'm like, oh, we'll try this again. These cars are built like tanks, you know. So and it played out. Yeah, I was just pushing real hard that second time off that restart. I saw the lead out there, trying to get my first win in this series. You know, even though the car had a little bit of damage, I was going to try to wheel it, you know, make it do what I needed to do. I scraped the wall, then they were down below me. I think there were 3, maybe 4 wide, and they wreck, and then they come up into me. And man, I don't know if there's a right side left on my car, but you know, regardless, brought it home third. The guys at the shop have some repairing to do though.
Yeah, that's never a good thing, but still, great job, and send some shout outs whoever you like to.
I'd like to congratulate Pedro on the win. I'd say the right car won tonight, led the most laps, and he was really, really fast. I'd like to shout out everyone at Sim500 that puts on these races. It's a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun tonight. And thank you, Chris and Kevin with Captain Esports for putting on the broadcast.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, great job tonight, and good strategy worked out for you, and congrats on the 3rd place.
Thank you. See you next time.
You too, buddy. As Derek Myers finishes in the 3rd position. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there, Kevin. I've looked down at Discord. There's not many people left. So I'm pretty sure that tells me there's a lot of unhappy people.
Yeah, could be.
But let's talk to our 2nd place finisher, and that being Josh Parker. Kev, I think you've caught up with him.
Yep, Josh Parker, 2nd place tonight. Interesting race for you. You didn't show a lot of speed in the beginning, but slow and consistent, worked your way in. And how about a 2nd place finish? Will you take it?
No. No, it's fine. I mean, I'm so competitive, I hate losing, but I hit the wall early. I gave myself 30 seconds of damage, so I was running with damage all race, but it didn't seem to affect me too much. I just needed a yellow, right, to get me back, and we got it. And then after that, it was just lane choice after lane choice. It sucks that we go run the whole race, it gets ruined, and I think if we went green, I probably would have finished us outside top 5, maybe 6, but it was even then with those green white checkers. I don't know. These guys can't never get it together. It's just, it feels like you waste your whole race for nothing. So yeah, they weren't happy because I said to start picking winners out of a hat instead of running races. But it is what it is.
Talk about the high lane versus the. In the beginning, the bottom was the place to be, but as the run went on.
Yeah, it was tough for me. I didn't run any practice, so it was tough for me to figure out exactly what we were shifting to, which sucked. So, yeah. It was tough because shifting would. So you wanted to run the bottom to save the tires, but with shifting, it didn't seem like if you're in the bottom or the top, you were just gonna burn your tires up. So the whole first run, I shifted and I destroyed my right front, which is why I was off a little bit. And then the whole rest of the race, I decided just to run 5th and help me save the tires. And I was starting to climb my way to the front, but with the shifting, I don't feel like, to answer your question, there was really a high-low lane. I think they were both equal. It was really hard to pass because everyone was just downshifting. So I tried running different gears, different lines, and I ended up just all running the same within a 10th after 30 laps. So it didn't seem to matter.
Talk a little bit about the Mohawk sponsorship you have on the car.
So I'm good friends with Ryan Priest, so I just follow obviously Mohawk's a Northeast business up here for him that sponsors a lot of local races over here, but I'm good friends with Ryan Priest, so I just tend to run what he runs. This is car he ran at Dover, and I like it. I like the colors. I don't know why. So I'm one of those guys that always had to have a different, like that. When I was running the Coke series, I had to have a certain color hood because it just bothered me. So the color of the hood I like, so I just kept with it.
Okay. I'm just curious as to what the background of that was. Well, look, 2 wins on the season, a 2nd place. Did you think you had it in the car, or just the race played out kind of in your strategy? There was a lot of extracurricular activity in the last couple of laps. How'd you make it through cleanly?
So that's why I didn't deserve to win this race, but I'm still so pissed off that I didn't win this race. But I feel like I had to. Always, I was talking to Pedro just now. It was like, with me starting in the back all the time, I always have to run some type of strategic play to get up front because it's so hard to pass here. So it's very hard to pass all these cars and to have you're in position to win and you don't even get a chance to do it. So that's the frustrating part.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can't complain about the results after all.
No,
34 plus laps, 2nd place out of Kansas, and that sounds like a good night's work.
Get to talk to Kevin England. Come on, you got Chris over here. This is a friggin' night.
All right, so do your shout outs, Josh. Who do you want to say hello to?
Shit, I can't shout out to anyone. Everyone left freaking Discord.
Talking about that. What was it? Pandemonium, bedlam down there?
My whole team was pissed. Not at each other. I think just Chad put himself on the wall 4 or 5 times, so he was just. I think he said he was going to sell his wheel mid race.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And then Joey pissed me off. So at the end of the race, I finished second. That's why I'm still here. But BZ had a bad race. People yelling at everyone. Yeah, it was chaotic.
Okay. Well, let's see how, look, you got a week to settle down, though.
Yeah, I'm over it. I'm good now. I was pissed off at the time because, like I said, you get fate's not in your hands. I hate when that happens. So it's a pet peeve of mine, and it happened tonight. So
I can only imagine, a lot of drivers had really good runs go south, right? That's got to be
right. That's a good point.
One of the most frustrating things as a driver is,
Yeah, I mean, I'm over here bitching on second place. You had Doy running top 5 all race, right? You had Glenn was running good all race. A lot of people were running good, and they didn't get the finishes.
Joey was top 10 through a good majority of it.
Yeah, Joey. Joey's another one. So right now, Joey's on my bad list, so it's okay. He finished bad, but everyone else had such a good run going, and yeah. So you're right. I got to take. Oh, there's a protest. I might file a protest against Joey.
What? That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I feel like we are getting to that moment in the broadcast where
I'll let you guys talk.
No, well, it's funny. We bring up North Wilkesboro here. And that, of course, was in 1996. And I can't help but 1996 thinking about some guy named Stone Cold saying that Austin 316 means that it just broke open the door of the Attitude Era, basically. So I wonder if that just happened in this interview where we just broke open like a whole new thing. But I'm good with it.
I'll leave on that one. All right, get Pedro up here. You guys have a good interview.
You too. Yeah, thanks, man. Josh Parker. Hey, I like the no filter. I'm not complaining about it. We
all laugh about it next week when we joke about,
Apparently, the one thing we learned tonight is Josh Parker is pissed off at Joey Jutina.
Apparently, seems to be.
There you go. But I think the one guy who's probably not mad, besides you and I, is Pedro. Pedro becomes the first driver, Mr. Mojica, to sweep a weekend this season in 2023. Congratulations and welcome back to Victory Lane again.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. Actually, I was going to say, I thought I swept the weekend at Texas.
Maybe you did. I don't remember. I told you I would probably slip my mind.
So, yeah, the first Cup win was tied with an Xfinity win. I think that was like the 5th one or whatever over there. But yeah, this is the second time doing it. So, yeah, I'll take it, man. I'm not mad about anything. I'm glad the way things worked out there. I was a little frustrated with the yellow towards the end of the regular amount of laps we were supposed to do. That was pretty frustrating. It's frustrating to have such a good race and then something like that happens. Not sure what happened, but it just unfortunately then it ends up everybody knows with these cars and fresh tires and you don't really have to worry about saving. It's all about track position and restarts, so everybody just bonds on like crazy. But fortunately, we were in the front of all of that, and we were just able to control the restarts, and they decided to wreck after each restart right away, so it made it nice and easy for me.
Yeah, definitely, it worked out for you there, and yes, you did correct me. You did win at Texas both ways. It's funny because I actually said, when I said that stat, I'm like, you know what, it's probably something that happened earlier this year, and I've totally forgotten about it. Duh. But still, the racing tonight, obviously you had to work hard with your strategy. I want to talk a little bit about that second pit stop because obviously you pitted right there around the lap 50 mark. And then you had Scott Simley, who pits all the way out at lap 67. And I almost feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you made the pit stop when you did to almost counter knowing that Scott might be able to go the distance. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Chris. When I pitted the first time and came out and kind of saw who was pitting when for the guys who stayed out the longest, Scott was the only one out of that group that I was really confident that could make it to the end. Supposedly Jose said he could, maybe because he was in the draft of Eric Arnold. I'm not 100% sure, but I was more focused on Scott. So yeah, what I ended up doing, I was just kind of paying attention to the relative and seeing where he was at versus me. And when he got to about the same amount of distance I was when he pitted, I pitted. So it was about lap 85. So yeah, that was definitely a counter to that, just to give myself enough time to run these guys down. So and it took just about all those laps to get to at least get to Jose, who, like again I said, he said he could have made it. I'm not 100% sure on that because he pitted about 62, 63, so he had to have saved quite a bit and stay in the draft. So, but it looked like him and Eric were working together. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, yeah, we that's why we pitted when we did, so we can have enough time to catch those guys.
Well, yeah, to help you to your question maybe a little bit, Jose pitted a lap before Scott. So he was only needing to go one lap longer than Scott would have to get to the finish. So he might have saved enough. But how either fun or stressful was that battle between you two? Because obviously it looked like, I didn't know if you had backed your pace down knowing that he might have to pit and you didn't believe that. Or if maybe just the tire wear was finally catching up to you to where you were just slowly catching him every bit at a time. But the battle looked pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean it's a little frustrating just because like I knew I was way faster than him, but you know, because I did slow my pace down a little bit. Like I did kind of push hard coming out of the pits initially, and I kind of wanted to manage my tires a little bit better. So you know, just to make sure there wasn't like a huge run at the end from Bentley or anybody behind me. But the biggest thing is like once I got to within about 6/10 on Jose and Eric, like the car got tight just because of the arrows, so that made it a lot more challenging. So I kind of had to like maneuver, but Jose was just really tight. I could tell he was tight. He couldn't really turn down, it didn't seem like, and so I could drive underneath him. But then the problem is like you just get like you don't even have to get close to the door on the guy on the inside, and on old tires you just get tight. So I would get tight underneath him, and I just couldn't. I couldn't get the run off the corner without wrecking them, and I didn't want to do that. So I just had to be patient and work them over. And then finally, yeah, we were able to get around him. I think Eric got tight going into one, and it kind of checked him up, and I was able to get around both of them for the most part. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a little stressful, a little aggravating, honestly, because when you have better tires than somebody like that, you know you're faster, and you catch them, and you know, you race that hard for that, which I get it. It's the end of the race, and he's trying to hold his position and try to win too, so can't fault him at that. But, you know, when you have way fresher tires, it does get a little frustrating, but I was able to keep my composure and get in front of him at the right time.
Well, great job tonight, man. Send some shout-outs whoever you like to.
I appreciate you, Chris and Kevin, for putting on that broadcast, and Captain Esports for doing these broadcasts, man. You guys do such a great job. I always enjoy going back and watching the races. I'd like to thank our sponsor for the Cup Series, the NC81, Call Before You Dig. I appreciate everything they do for the league and this Cup Series, and then jumping on board on the Xfinity Series. They do a lot for Sim500, so I appreciate them. Glenn Campbell and Trans-Service for jumping on board. I wouldn't be running this Cup deal this year if it wasn't for Glenn, so I appreciate him. I'm glad to be representing him and his brand well. And on that note, I appreciate Max Graphics for painting the car. Looks pretty sharp, so I'm glad to be representing that car up front. All the guys on Team Name, appreciate them. Work really well together. Just trying to work with David there at the end, try to help him get a decent finish. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for him, but all in all, I think we all ran pretty good. So shout out to those guys, and then yeah, just appreciate the family for letting me come down and hang out for a couple hours.
There you go, brother. Well, great job. Second sweep of the season, and congratulations on that. And go celebrate another win. We'll see you next Monday at Charlotte.
Cool. No, I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you so much.
You too, buddy. Pedro Mojica finishing in victory lane twice. Second time he's pulled the broom out. Texas and at the Kansas Speedway here. So maybe he's something with Midwest and weekends. Something to think about there. I don't know. So, what have we learned tonight? We got a lot of unhappy people. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Some fantastic racing. And needless to say, Monday nights are fun. And I can't wait for next Monday night. So, your final thoughts as we scoot our way out of Kansas?
Yeah, just astonished that Derek Myers was able to hang on there, get a third place finish with the car that he had. Timing just worked out for him. Good run for Steve Ritter, finishing 7th. Solid weekend for them. And I just look at the schedule ahead and think, man, we have some really fun racetracks. We're going to Gateway next after we go to Charlotte. Then we go to Auto Club, which is going to be amazing. We come back to another racetrack just like this in Chicagoland. We head to Nashville, which is an amazing track in its own way. We're going to Atlanta, the Super Speedway. So the mix of racetracks in the next handful of weeks is just going to be a total blast as we enter into the summer stretch.
It is going to be a lot of fun, so I cannot wait for that. But we're going to head out, and we'll see you next Monday night here from, or not from here from Kansas, but we'll be at Charlotte, of course, getting ready for a 240-mile race. It'll be the longest race of the Cup season, so it should be a good one to enjoy. As like Kevin said just a little bit ago, I'm a fan of those long-distance races myself, so cannot wait for that. So we head out. Always remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. This is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement. Yeah, there's no replacement for persistence. It's a patience. Yeah, in this life, I wanna be soaring to feel sun inside when it's pouring, and I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great.